guys, welcome back for another video. This is Tanya Designs, and if you're new to this channel, I'm a furniture painter and I do home accessories, home decor accessories, and I also have watercolor tutorials on this channel because I'm a watercolor artist as well. So you're going to see a little bit of a mixture of both. So today what we're going to be doing is making this cute snowman out of chair spindles. As I said before, I am a furniture painter, and I have a whole bunch of chairs, probably more than I know what to do with. So I decided to start cutting them apart and using the pieces of the chairs. And I fell in love with the legs of this chair. So I didn't want to throw them away, and I decided that I would make snowmen since winter is right around the corner. So I'm going to show you how to make this little guy today. Okay, so what you're going to start with is obviously your chairs, and you're going to cut them apart. And this was a leg that I just fell in love with. It's a nice turned leg with a lot of detail. And I didn't want to throw it away, so I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do with it. And I decided snowmen. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you start with this, and I use chalk paint. I usually use Rust-Oleum chalk paint. Their corporate is in my hometown, and they donate a lot of money to the schools and all sorts of things around town, so I thought I would support them and use Rust-Oleum, plus it's a really good product. So it's a win-win. All right, so the color I'm using today is obviously linen white because our snowmen are going to be white. So I'm going to start with painting my spindles. And you want to get it in all the little nooks and crannies. This one's got a lot of little detail, so you just want to make sure that you get all. You want to get it in there. And you can sand your piece first if you want to. If it's a piece of furniture, I definitely sand it and prime it. Since this is just more of a home decor piece, I'm not going to do that because it's only going to be put on a shelf and used for decoration. So you're going to want to give it 2 or 3 coats. With white, it's a little tricky. It's a little bit more translucent. Even though it's chalk paint, it's got great coverage. But with the white, I'm finding you're going to have to give it a couple coats if you really, really want it to be opaque and not to see through it. I was lucky that this chair leg was painted a cream color, so the paint is going on really, really smooth. If it was painted a dark color, I'd have to give it even a little bit more of coverage. Okay, so you get the idea. So I've got one that's already painted for you. You're going to paint the whole thing. So I'm going to put this aside. And I've got one that I painted last night. So it's nice and dry. I gave it, like I said, about 2 or 3 coats. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a little stand. So this chair leg does stand on its own, but it's a little bit wobbly. So you want to give it a little bit more of a support. So I've got scrap wood. I've got a whole bin of scrap wood. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece, I think this is a 2x4, and you're going to want to measure out how big you want it. You don't want it to be too big, but maybe just a nice square. I just kind of eyeball it. Actually, I want to use the other side. It's a little bit better on the other side. Okay. All right. And then I've got my table saw right behind us, so you're going to saw this. And I'm not wearing glasses, but just for the sake of the video, I didn't wear glasses because it was just a quick cut, but you're going to want to wear glasses if you do that because little shards of wood go everywhere. Okay, so then I'm going to take some sandpaper. I'm taking 100 grit, and sometimes your edges are a little bit rough. You're just going to want to sand your edges a little bit. All right, nice and smooth. All right, and what you're going to do is you're going to take a little E6000, which I've got right here, and you're going to put it on the bottom of your spindle, like that. And then E6000 takes a little bit of time to dry, so I'm also going to take my hot glue gun and put a little hot glue around it, just so it dries a little bit faster. and I can work with this while the E6000 is still drying. So you're going to want to eyeball it. Put it in the center of your wood. Push down. And then if you have a little bit that's coming out, the glue, just wipe it off. It might be a little hot, so you want to take like a rag or something. Actually, what I do is I take my can opener, my paint can opener, and I just kind of scrape the edges. Like that. So this is what it looks like now. Then I'm going to take a little bit more of my paint, my chalk paint. And you could put this little stand on at the very end of your project if you want to, but it's a little bit easier if you put it on right at the beginning, because then your snowman stands a little bit better as you're creating him, and you're not fussing with him wobbling and falling all over. So get a nice good coverage on there. All right. So now your piece looks like this. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create his little hat now. There's a lot of different ways you can create this little hat. So I'm gonna show you a couple things that I found here that I just have in my studio laying around. I've got these cute little corks, round corks, and then I collect bottles. So I also keep the corks. So there's different kind of corks, lengths and thicknesses. So I keep those. This is a little piece of wood that I found in my studio yesterday. And then this is really cute, a cute idea, is I've got these from the mason jars. I've got these little lids that I keep. And then also salt and pepper shakers. I keep the lids off those because I sometimes use the jars for something else. So that's just to give you a little idea. So for him, I used a mason jar lid and the salt and pepper lid. And you're going to put a little bit of glue on the edge here, because you're going to want to glue this so it's nice and secure. And then take your lid and pop it in. And you can give it another little squirt of glue on the inside. Okay. And then I've got my little salt topper here. So I am going to put some glue on that also. Okay, and then eyeball it again, just kind of, oops, you just want to center it. So that's how you make your little hat, okay? So now you're going to want to take a little bit of your white chalk paint again. And you're going to want to give it a nice coat. Now, I know my snowman's hat is not exactly white, but I do start with white to achieve the look that I'm going for. I give it a gray glaze, and obviously the gray glaze will not go right on the metal. So I give it a coat of chalk paint, and then my glaze goes on a lot smoother, because you can't really use glaze on metal. It doesn't work. Now, I'm not wearing gloves, but you could totally wear gloves if you don't like to get your hands all messy. Definitely wear gloves at this point, because you are going to get messy. Me, I don't really care. Doesn't bother me at all. All right, so I am going to give this a quick blow dry. Okay, so you can give it another coat if you want to, but we're going to be putting a gray glaze over this, so you don't really need to. So here again, I'm using my Rust-Oleum chalked, and it is a smoke glaze. It's called smoked glaze. And with a bit of a rougher brush, I use bristle brushes for this because you kind of want a rough look Actually, at this point, I am going to be wearing a glove for this, just because I don't want to get any glaze on my fingers, because then it's gonna, when I'm touching my snowman, it'll get glaze on there. So I'm going to use some gloves for this part. And you're going to want to just kind of brush on your gray glaze over the white chalk paint that you just did. And you can be real, you can just put a good coat on there if you want to, because you're going to be rubbing some of this away anyways. Make sure you get the whole hat. Okay. Then with a paper towel or a Kleenex, you're going to want to just dab it off. Normally on furniture, what you do is you do a nice even stroke of just like wiping the glaze off. But here I want some texture, so I'm just going to be dabbing it. And it gives it a nice textured look. And just go around the whole hat. And then you'll see if you want another coat. If you want the hat darker, then just give it another coat. Let it dry and give it another coat. For me, I just want a nice light gray hat. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of our, when the hat is actually on the snowman, you can kind of see up inside the hat, and I don't really want to see that, you know, the metal part. So I'm going to take a little bit more of my white chalk paint, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a coat of paint on the inside as well. And you could do it white, you could do it gray, whatever color you want. Okay. Then I'm going to take my hot glue gun again, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the tip of his head, a nice good amount, and then eyeball it again, kind of where the center is of the lid, and just plop it on. I'm going to let that dry. And then kind of see where the nicest part of your spindle is, where you want the face to go. I think this is probably the nicest side. So I'm going to have his face go on this side. All right, so let me move my glaze over. All right. And this part, you're going to want to get some toothpicks for his little nose. So I have these round toothpicks. And you're going to just want to eyeball how long you want that toothpick. You don't want it to be too long. And then cut it. I use an X-Acto blade. Be careful when you're using the X-Acto blade, but I just kind of chop it. So I have this little, I don't know if you can see it, little tiny piece of toothpick here. And I've got a little bit of orange paint. Now I don't want his nose to be completely bright orange. So I am going to dab some white chalk paint over this when it's done. But for right now, I'm going to paint it orange because I do want a little hint of orange, but not too much. All right. And I know this is really tiny, you probably can't see that. But I just painted the tip of my toothpick orange. Okay. Wash off your brush. And here's a little trick for his face. I'm using black paint, just acrylic paint, and I'm going to take the bottom of my brush, which is nice. You want a round bottom on the brush. Some brushes are angled and it's not going to work, so you want a nice round bottom on the back of your brush, and you're going to dip it in your black paint. I just have a little bit of black paint in my cap. And where was the nice side? This one. There it is. Okay, so you just want to do two little eyeballs. And I'm going to make them a little bit bigger, so you can just keep dabbing it. All right, I don't know if you can see that, but I just did his little eyes. All right, and I am going to take my little orange toothpick, and I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue so I could stick it on his face. There we go. Just a little ball of hot glue on the bottom. And you're gonna wanna eyeball where his little nose would go. And just wipe away the extra glue that's on there. Make sure his nose is on really good. I don't know if you can see that. I'll show a close-up later, but he's got a cute little face right now. And then for his scarf, you can use any ribbon you want. On this guy, I chose a black and white theme. Let's see. You can leave him out even through Valentine's Day, since winter's still in Valentine's Day. So you could even do like a little heart ribbon. I have a bunch of different little ribbons here that are black and white. But today I think I'm going to do this little guy in this hunter green and black. And put it around his little neck and tie it. And you can make this little scarf as long as you want. Actually, you know what? You can tie it or you can actually hot glue it. I'm kind of thinking this one here is just going to be hot glued. So I'm going to hot glue it just like that. But you can tie it and make it really long like this guy if you want. You know what? Actually, I'm going to make him a little bit longer. I think I'm still going to hot glue it, but I want it a longer scarf. So let's cut a little more off. But I'm still going to glue it. So I'm going to take a little bit of my hot glue and secure it to him. Careful you don't burn yourself. That's cute. All right, so he looks something like that. And then for his hat, on this one, I chose like these little berries and pine cones that you can find them anywhere at the dollar store or Michael's in their craft section. You can put whatever you want on his hat, even flowers. I think for this little guy, I think I'm gonna put some greenery on him. So I've just got these fake little boxwood greens. Let's see how I want to position this. So I'm going to take a little bit of my hot glue, put it on his hat, put it on my boxwood on there, and then I'm going to take a little more hot glue, push it down nicely. Actually, this one might be a little too long. There we go. Cute. And then if you want, you could put like some little flowers or berries or whatever on him. And the little buttons down the front of his little chest there, you can use, I have a whole jar. I collect buttons and beads and shells and all sorts of things. So I just fill mason jars full of stuff. So I just went through and I picked out, you could put 3, 4, 5 buttons, however many as you want. And my buttons, I'm going to be painting, so it doesn't really matter what color they are. So I'm going to put a little hot glue where I want his buttons. I chose 3 buttons, all different colors, because like I said, I'm going to be painting them, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so right now, you can leave it like that. If you like a little bit of color, go for it. You can leave that. But I am going to be painting them white because I am going to make them the same as the hat. So I'm taking a little bit of my white chalk paint. I'm just going to give them a little bit of white chalk paint. Need a little bit of touching up on his face. Okay, I'm going to dry these and then I'm going to put a little bit of a gray glaze on them like I did with the hat. Okay, so they're all nice and dry. And I'm going to take my gray glaze again. And I'm just going to dab it right on his little buttons. And then you can take your paper towel again and just dab it off a little bit lightly. Just give it that textured look again. He's so cute. All right, so I think the bottom needs another coat of white, and I think he's almost done. And if you want to make these really cute, like really fancy, you can go ahead and you could put maybe a little skirt on it if you think it's a little girl. You could put little earrings on it. You could paint the bottom a different color. There's all sorts of different variations that you could do here. Just have fun. That's the most important part. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to this channel. I always have new tutorials, like I said before, whether it's watercolors or home decor or painted furniture. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.